Welcome to ASI Insider. I'm Susan Sutton, editor of Adhesives and Sealants Industry, and we're joined today by Chris Fitzgerald of Univar Solutions. Chris is going to help us try to get a handle on some of the ongoing shenanigans that are continuing to plague the industry in terms of the supply chain. Thanks for joining us, Chris. It's kind of a crazy time to be in specialty chemicals distribution.
It's been a crazy year for sure, Susan.
There are so many different factors that are coming into play and have been over the last couple of years. What are you seeing as continued issues right now?
Well, there's no doubt that we were really a global economy. The global supply of key raw materials that affect all of our specialty chemicals that we distribute, the ISO container availability, and trade imbalance to a degree, the backups at the ports, right, that we're all aware of now that they've highlighted that because of Christmas goods. That's actually been going on for quite a while since COVID began. The lack of commercial truck drivers. I think I read an article where it said something like 1 million truck drivers are needed in North America that we don't have today. So these things are with us today, and they're going to continue to go with us in the future. And then there are some new things that, as I look toward the future, I think about ongoing regulation changes that are going to impact supply depending on when those dates and impacts are affected, and the bigger question of sustainability, right? How do we deliver our raw materials to the manufacturing sites at the least impactful way to our environment, and what are companies going to be doing in the future to get to the lowest impact. I'm actually proud to say Univar Solutions, I think, is set up in a unique way with infrastructure and our rail sites, and looking at ideas for the future now on how that last mile to get to our customers can really be the lowest impact.
What are some of the specific raw materials used in adhesives and sealants that are still kind of undergoing some challenges, and what are the primary causes of those challenges? Is it a supply and demand situation? Is it a logistical issue, or what do you see happening?
Well, the answer is it's probably all of the above, and it's probably what isn't affected right now, unfortunately, right? So, whether it's epoxies and hardeners, isocyanates and polyols, silicones, acrylics, SIS, SBS, copolymers, tackifying resins and rosins, TiO2, carbon black. I mean, everything that, we need today has been globally tight. And, some of this, really, you think about the global drivers, right? So, APAC has a big impact on our globe, and as they've worked to improve their air quality, some of that has driven plant closures. Some very large volumes have been taken out of the mix. Some of our North American manufacturers, because of maintenance and regulations, have reduced some supply or closed some plants, and all of these things are playing into the global supply right now. I think we talked about some of the drivers, but this isn't easy on anyone. Absolutely. I think that, part of the challenge this year has been a bit of an opportunity. So, as we've run into these situations, we've worked closely with our customers, Univar Solutions, with our suppliers to figure out, okay, what can we do, right? And ultimately, I think first and foremost, communication of what we can get, the molecules we can get that are impacting the specialty chemistry. That's important. Stocking, right? When we're able to get something that, we're taking everything we can get right now so that we can satisfy our customers. That's key. And it's going to be, I think, a slow road to recovery. I have an optimistic sense about 2022. That it will get better toward the end of the year, but there are still some, key raw materials that end up impacting specialty chemistry, like epoxies, for example, and acrylics, and silicones that are all going to have an effect, I think, throughout the year.
Inflation is another concern that seems to be kind of increasing these days. What ramifications does higher inflation have for the industry?
Well, I think it affects all of us, right? no one, I think, can predict exactly how long it's going to last. I think there's a news article today talking about trying to combat inflation with higher interest rates. Something the government's stepping in and doing specifically in the U.S. But I'm seeing this around the globe right now, and ultimately it's going to affect all of us, and in the end affect the consumer, right? And it's interesting. I don't think the average consumer understands, how all of the specialty chemistry that Univar distributes ends up at our manufacturing partners. And then just how key all that technology, specifically in the adhesive and sealants world, affects them and how they touch it every day. So in the end, it's going to be the consumer, unfortunately, that's going to end up paying for this inflation. And again, how long it lasts is probably anyone's guess.
How are companies managing to navigate through all of these different issues that just seem to be happening simultaneously, and then also just popping up here or there, something new every day, it seems like? How are companies dealing with all of that?
Yeah, in a way, it almost seems like whack-a-mole, right? What's the new problem of the day or the month? It started with a deep freeze that we hadn't seen last year, and just how fragile the infrastructure was in the South with regards to just water pipes bursting, right? And that led to issues with the storms and electricity. We have hurricane impacts that have affected us, especially the last 10 years. We've seen more and more of those. And so, I would love to say that, these things are flukes and brief anomalies, right? But I think they're going to continue to persist. And I think that, from my standpoint, and what we're trying to do at Univar to help our customers is continually to look at their playbook, right? So every one of our customers, they have a number of product lines and formulas that they want to represent in the marketplace. So what's your plan B or your playbook? If you can't get this raw material, how can we help you get to your plan B? And so we spent a lot of time this year, both with our technical sales team, our field application specialists, our Houston lab, trying to look at, okay, what can we do to shorten your testing time to approve an alternative raw material, if we find that available, and still meet all of the parameters that you have in your formulation for testing. What can we do to extend things like TiO2? We spent a lot of time this year. TiO2 is globally tight. We really need more production to come online. And until then, what are you going to do for your hiding purposes and your white pigment colors, right? To extend that. And we found ways to help our customers with various chemistries, whether it's a acrylic extender or a specific filler that has enough white brightness that you can extend a portion of your TiO2. Carbon black. Carbon black has been tight. Fumed silica has been tight. So looking at all these chemistries and, looking at the customer's playbook and saying, okay, what can we do to help you continue to run your business? Because that's really, at the end of the day, what's most important to us all, is keeping our businesses running, especially as I'm delighted to say the demand has come back so strong from the marketplace after 2020. So I think that's going to be, the key focus in 2022 is to continue to look at that playbook and what we can do to help with the plan B, to help reformulate, to help find new chemistries that'll help our customers grow.
Well, thank you again, Chris, for taking the time to share your insights with us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And of course, thanks to our viewers as well. To learn more, explore the supply chain related content on adhesivesmag.com and visit univarsolutions.com.